Hello everyone, in this video I'll be showing you a rogue fighter build guide for Baldur's Gate 3. So the rogue itself adds a lot of nice things to the fighter, but we're going to be starting as the fighter because they get a little bit of an easier start to the game. Now, we get to pick a fighting style. Defense is always a good one for the +1 armor class, but as a rogue, two-weapon fighting works really well here. So whenever you make an attack with offhand weapon, you add your modifier to the damage, so that can be good. There's also gauntlets that will give this to us, so you can go with defense or two-weapon fighting. I would recommend either of those, but not great weapon fighting because we're going to be using finesse weapons to be able to use sneak attacks. So we'll go with that. Even archery can be a bit of a decent choice too. Now, for our ability scores, dexterity is going to be crucial here, so we want to have that at least 16, 17 if you got the hags here to take it up to 18, and then you can use your first ability score to take that up to 20. And then constitution, we're really focused on the big three here with strength, constitution, dexterity. However, it's not bad to have a few other stats too. So we can go with something like this, have it nice and balanced. Now, you can use strength potions if you want to get your strength up, although it's not really focused on this build. So our big two stats would be our constitution and our dexterity. So we could even go, you could even take that down and put this up and go 16 constitution. You got the free reign to go with whatever choice you want there. Strength is not going to be as important, but we'll go with something like this for our ability scores, and yeah, we'll be going through the full level guide here. I'll show you the progression we want to go through, and then the gear at the end. And I have some gear options that you can go with throughout the game. So at level 2, we get our action surge. That is a big benefit of having the fighter. At level 3, we get to choose our subclass, and I thought long and hard on this because the champion makes sense. You get the improved chance of hitting a critical hit. But I just think that the Battle Master actually works a little bit better for this build. Having a higher chance of hitting a critical hit is awesome, but the champion just doesn't bring as much to the table. The Battle Master and the Eldritch Knight do have a lot to bring. The Eldritch Knight doesn't really fit into this build as much as the Battle Master does, so I'm going to go with the Battle Master here. And the big reason is we get riposte. So whenever a hostile creature misses an attack, and they're going to miss them quite often, we can use a superiority die to make a reaction attack that also adds in 1d8 of damage and eventually 1d10. So riposte, definitely one that we want to have. Now, menacing attack is another extremely useful one. This can be a ranged attack or a melee attack. If you frighten a target, they'll get disadvantage on ability checks and attack rolls, and it cannot move, so they become pretty well useless. Menacing attack is incredible, so you definitely want to go with that one. Disarming attack is another nice one, because if they drop their weapon, they typically don't pick it up, and then they just start attacking you with their fists, which greatly lowers their damage that they can deal. So disarming attack can be a really nice one to go with, or even like a trip attack to knock a target prone. This will give you advantage on your attack, so actually for the purposes of this, I think trip attack is a good one to take early on, so we'll go with that there, because we can get some extra damage off of having advantage on attack rolls. So at level 4, we get to pick our first feat, and with this, we're going to take our dexterity up to 18. This just gives us another armor class, gives us another point of initiative, and it's really big. So at level 5, we get ourselves the extra attack. This is where the build gets a really nice power spike, so we can now attack twice, and then with our bonus action, we can use an offhand attack. Level 6, we get ourselves a feat, but I actually think it's best to now add in the rogue. So what's nice about adding in the rogue at this level is we get our sneak attacks and 2 attacks. So kind of adding a bit of both to the build. So we get our sneak attack there, deal extra damage to a foe you have advantage against, and we also have a ranged sneak attack too, so that is nice. And then we also get our skill proficiencies. So if you want, you can take your athletics up to prevent yourself from being shoved. Sleight of hand if you don't have someone that's going to be a lock picker. Also, I think that going with stealth is really good because stealth is important to us. We're using armor that allows us to stealth. We're not going to go with heavy armor, so stealth can be a really good one in athletics to prevent being shoved. Now, once we get to the next level, I think it's actually best to go back to fighter because the extra ability improvements actually really good. So taking our dexterity up to 20, kind of our next priority, so we want to take that up as quickly as possible. Then we get ourselves another superiority die, and we get to choose 2 more maneuvers. So disarming attack's nice because you can get yourself their weapon, pick it up. You don't even have to pick it up because they typically won't attack with the weapon, but sometimes they will. It's just not very often. The next choice is kind of up to you. You get to choose 7 of these. Pushing attack can knock the target back, which can be really good. Precision attack, if you're not going to hit your attacks with This build, we typically will hit our attack, so it's not really a super high need, but we can take it later on. Sweeping attack just plain sucks. It only deals 1 to 8 damage. It doesn't actually use your weapon damage, so that kind of sucks. A rally's nice though. For the 8 temporary health points, that can be pretty useful. So disarming attack and rally can be 2 good choices early on in the game. We got our crowd control. Now at level 8 we get another feat. So there's a few ones that are really good. Warcaster, you gain advantage. I guess not on this build. I meant to say Savage Attacker. So what this does is you re-roll your damage die twice and use the highest result, giving you a flat-out increase to our damage. And that actually works really well here since we're doing a lot of rolls for damage with critical hits and with the sneak attack damage. So we'll take that for the flat-out increase to our damage. We get Indomitable at level 9, which gives ourselves the ability to, if we fail a saving throw, to re-roll that die. Just overall increasing our survivability. At level 10, our superiority die goes to level 1d10. And the 2 maneuvers that we're going to be picking now, pushing attack to have that pushback is pretty decent. And precision attack can be a good one if you want to go with that route. Goading attack is alright. I find the enemy's AI doesn't work too well with this. Feigning attack we don't want. Some of these aren't really that great. Distracting strike to give advantage on the next attack roll can be okay, not really a high priority. And Commander Strike, don't go with this. This isn't good. In D&D, this is good, but just in Baldur's Gate 3 doesn't really work as well. So precision attack, not bad if you need an extra hit chance if there's someone with a really high armor class. It doesn't add extra damage, it just adds an increased hit chance. Now, level 11 fighters, and we get the third attack, so I was debating going level 9 fighter and then level 3 rogue to get the extra bonus attack, but going with 3 full-on attacks is just the better choice here, and I'll show you why. So now once we get into like the build information in the gear, why we want that advantage is because with the Crimson Mischief, we deal extra piercing damage to targets with 50% health or less, but when we have this in our main hand, when we attack with advantage, which we're typically going to, the target takes an additional 7 piercing damage. So that's really good. However, we can swap these around. This will give us a +1 armor class if it's in the offhand, so you can see our armor class dropped. This will give the enemy vulnerability to piercing damage, so they'll take double damage from this the next time you attack. So that can be really good as well. Just depends what you think is more necessary. I think the Crimson Mischief for this build actually works better on the main hand. And then if you have someone with the ballast armor, this gives enemies within 2 meters vulnerability to piercing damage unless they're resistant or immune to it. Typically, this is more so for an evil aligned playthrough. Our armor class will dip a little bit, but the nice thing about it is anyone that's within 2 meters is going to have vulnerability to piercing damage. It says 3 meters there, and there just 2 meters. So, yeah, within 3 meters, you can sneak up on people, and then you can just attack them and get that extra double damage. So that is really good. I guess I'll leave that on just for the purposes of showing off what this can do. I had the Dark Justiciar gauntlets for the extra necrotic, but even the Gloves of the Balanced Hand will give you the ability to hit with your offhand if you didn't take that as your perk, or the feat earlier, or fighting style earlier. And we can also go with the tried and true classic. The Strength gauntlets are not bad, but even the, trying to find the Hell Dust Gauntlets, there they are. Additional fire damage. So this will give us more damage on our attacks here. It does drop the damage of the Blade of the First Blood there, but going with the necrotic damage there, it does increase it a little bit. So Hell Dust Gauntlet's pretty solid choice for extra damage. I'm using Evasive Shoes, Cloak of Protection, and the Ring of Protection, but another nice option is we have the Helm of Baldur, which will heal us for 2 at the start of each turn, +1 armor class. And then we can also go with the Whispering Promise, because this will heal us, and then this counts as heals, so this will give us a +1d4 bonus to attack rolls and saving throws. That's pretty good. So if you get both of these, there are a lot of synergy there. The Killer Sweetheart will give us a critical hit, which is nice. We want to be dealing spike damage, and then I have the Amulet of Greater Health. It gives us 147 health. However, even things like the Amulet of Ball, which will give bleeding, does kind of chip away to our health, but yeah, you got options for your weapons there. Now, if you're earlier in the game, there's a few different ones, like the Cold Snap's a good weapon to go with. The Rhapsody, I guess it's an Act 3 weapon. I would go with anything that you can get that is going to be finesse based, so light weapons, because that's going to give us the sneak attack extra damage. Justiciar Scimitar is actually pretty good. When you attack with advantage, you have a chance of blinding your target, which is absolutely incredible. Dolor Amaris, whenever you land a critical hit, deal an additional 7 damage. That's also really nice. So go with whatever you got for your best knife in, or I guess any short swords or knives. Stillmaker with the hold person is also pretty good. Even the Salune's Spear of the Night, because this gives us a moonbeam. I wouldn't, I guess, recommend it. The Spear of the Evening, sure, Spear of the Evening is a little bit better with the darkness that it brings. But typically what we want to be doing is we want to be sneaking around as much as possible. So they're catching on to me there, but if we're able to get a sneak attack off. Okay, we got spotted by Shadowheart's mother. Let's see if I can sneak my way around here and try to damage someone just to show off what's possible with this. So no one noticed me here. So then we can go with our sneak attack. Oh, I got noticed. The sneak attack damage is really good, so you can see here we're going to be able to do a ton of damage, and that almost took out Will. That was 40 damage in one attack, so that is pretty good. And we also have all of our Battle Master maneuvers too that we can use for damage, so that is a nice part about that. But attacking there, we were able to take him down in 2 hits, so that's pretty good. 80 damage flat out right there. And then we can go with something like the trip attack. So knocking people prone is going to give us that nice ability to sneak attack them. So that's one big benefit of having these 2 classes combined together, is we can just go around knocking everyone over. Trip attack has a % chance of hitting, so it's not always going to hit, but the sneak attack that you can get off from it is well worth it. So highly recommend that. But even menacing attack is pretty solid, because you can hit people with the frightened, which is a really good status to have on people, so she saved on that. But the superiority die are typically going to be for our trip attack and for our menacing attack, because when you trip someone, you get that 3 sneak attack off, basically. So that's really nice for taking out enemies. I hate to attack my team like this, but that is kind of the best way about going about the fighter and rogue. You can get yourself pretty bloody with this, but trip attack plus sneak attack, honestly, a pretty good combination there. So that is it. That is the fighter mixed with the rogue. So if you found this video useful, please hit the subscribe button below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.